Get ready to blast off with the Disney original series Among the Stars, and we're going to take a real look at the vast world of NASA. And today I have with me Dr. Samuel Ting and Ben Turner. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
I want to start with you, Ben. You're director, producer, and founder of Full Well 73 Productions. And I really I enjoyed I Am Bolt from Universal. And of course, Hitsville, The Making of Motown. I enjoyed both of those. So tell me, how did you get involved with this project?
Well, I find that the more I love something, the better a job I do of telling its story. And there's almost nothing I love more than NASA and space. And just, I find it so romantic and exciting. And I've wanted to do something with them, a documentary for a long time. It took a good friend of mine, and one of my partners is James Corden, and he was the voice of Peter Rabbit. And on the set of Peter Rabbit, he was talking to the director of Peter Rabbit, a guy called Will Gluck, who had met Chris Cassidy, and they had a conversation about doing something in this world. And James said, "You've got to speak to Ben because he's obsessed by this." And that's how it all got started.
Man, it sounds great. The other thing is, I think it's very interesting, being a local producer here in St. Louis, I like the fact that you actually did one of your documentaries in your bedroom. And yes, I use my living room to do my editing.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting. Now, Dr. Ting, Nobel laureate in physics, I have a question for you. You're the founder and leader of the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer experiment on the International Space Station. Can you tell us about the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer and what it is?
Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, otherwise known as AMS, is a detector, an instrument used normally in ground-based accelerators to understand how nature is like at the very beginning of the Big Bang. And it is used in deep space on the space station, and it's quite large, it's 7.5 tons, and has 600 computers on board and 300,000 channels of different detectors, and try to trace the origin of different type of cosmic rays, and thereby try to find out how the universe begins, how the universe develops.
Do you think this will help us in our future Star Trek adventures?
This will certainly help us to travel to Moon and Mars, because we now understand how the radiation changes daily, monthly, yearly. Before, most people guess what it's like. Once you leave the atmosphere, intensive radiation will hit you. And so you really need to understand this before you spend 3 years to be on the surface of the moon. So this is a quite important information for deep space travel.
So you think this will actually help us put colonies and stations on the moon and eventually on Mars then?
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. So Ben, does that mean you're actually going to, instead of being on Earth, does that mean you're going to take a trip in space with a camera and start doing some videoing or filming?
If it was in any way possible, and as soon as it is possible, absolutely. I spent half of the conversations I had with NASA begging them to send me up there to film him, but they knew I was joking at this point. But I was just saying, I was sowing the seed for later.
You know what? If they're going to send William Shatner up in about another week or so, they can send you up.
Right?
You know that, Ben. Yeah, right. Ben, one last question for you. And as both being producers, executive producers, and being in the industry, now you edited in your bedroom, and then here all of a sudden we have this advertisement on TV for the new Apple i13, where you can actually film a movie and shoot a TV show. Do you think these iPhones are going to replace video cameras?
Well, they are video cameras, and some of the footage it's very mixed. A lot of footage in our show, especially once we couldn't go out and film. So with our cameras. I think that there's certainly been a revolution in the time I've been in the industry, and a democratization with people having edit suites in their houses and cameras on their phones or with them in many different ways. And I think it's fantastic. It makes the storytelling more immediate, and I think it's very exciting.
Yeah, I would agree with you too. And being a small producer, it also is very cost effective.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Dr. Samuel Ting and Ben Turner, thank you so much for talking about Disney's original series, Among the Stars. Ben, eventually you're going to go on a trip and use a camera to do the videoing. And Dr. Ting, I'm looking forward to seeing this, if I live long enough, us to put colonies on the moon and Mars and beyond.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.